Hey everybody, this is Leon, and I got some exciting news. Descriptive metadata has joined XR Fragment. So, what do I mean with descriptive metadata, and what can you do with it? Basically, it allows you to turn your 3D models and 3D scenes into text. And why is this important? Because virtual worlds are nothing if they cannot be expressed in text. Since the beginning of times, we have been accessing virtual worlds through text. And they were incredibly, or they are incredibly cool. And they're not only cool, but they're also important for everybody to enjoy virtual worlds. Since XR Fragments is promoting a spatial open internet, it means it's for everybody. So not only people with perfect vision, but also people without perfect vision, with other kinds of accessibility issues. Those people really benefit from descriptive metadata. So let me show you some very cool virtual worlds in text. The BBS ecosystem. So this was a huge virtual world of all kinds of computers before the websites. And this was basically the same. Another example is mods, multi-user dungeons. These are sort of like huge worlds with a lot of people, battling each other's or just exploring. It actually shows that, people have been creating virtual worlds since the beginning of times and in text. So it's definitely not crazy to translate your 3D worlds into text to make it more accessible. So what does this look like with XR Fragments? Let me show you. I will go to the example browser, and so let me take you to a linked file. And apologies for the frame rate. I'm also recording this, so here you can see an SRC file, which is basically living somewhere else online. And if I do a mouse over, then you can see all kinds of metadata. You can see a title, description, publisher, website, license, and even a transcript. So this transcript is basically telling us the textual version of the 3D scene. And it's also mentioning the XR fragments of objects and their descriptions. So this is actually, interestingly enough, not part of the XR fragment spec, but it's actually part of existing specs. Most importantly, the ARIA spec. So let me show you what this viewer was scanning for inside the 3D scene. So this is really cool because this already existed actually. So let me take you to the object metadata. It's on the left menu. And then if you scroll down, there is a chapter called Descriptive Metadata. And here it says, XR Fragments does not reinvent this, but encourages adding existing standards to 3D nodes. Basically, everybody, designers, 3D designers, add ARIA labels and descriptions to your 3D objects. This is so important so that other people without perfect vision or VR headsets can read what is going on in the scene. So here it also mentions that the ARIA description attribute is the most important, especially to generate transcripts. It also shows you an example that preferably start with a verb. Start the ARIA description with a verb. So for example, if you have an object, a 3D object, Triceratops, which is the name, then you can start the ARIA description like this, like, is a huge dinosaur standing on a mountain. And this can generate a transcript like this. Triceratops is a huge dinosaur standing on the mountain. And notice the hashtags, because this is again the beauty of XR fragments. Everything, every object name is a hashtag. So this makes things very clickable, even in a textual terminal interface, or all kinds of interesting accessibility input devices. You can surf these XR fragments, and there's a lot of potential there. So this is focusing not only on accessibility, but also machine readability. Machines also benefit from descriptive texts. There are also some other standards which this demo viewer was scanning for. For example, the SPDX license, the Open Graph attributes. If you don't know what it is, it's basically Open Graph is like stuff in your blog or HTML website which shows it to other people before they click it. So if you're in a Twitter feed or a Mastodon feed, forget Twitter. And then if you see a preview, those are usually those Open Graph metadata things. And another thing is the, let me check, BibTeX and Dublin Core. They are also very famous attributes. Yeah, just look them up. There's a bunch of them, and they really allow you to describe your scene and basically give more information to the user. So not only is this handy for embedded content, because this is also what I was missing from normal HTML browsers. You don't really know what is embedded. So here I have basically introduced this mouse over that it allows you to visit the embedded scene in its full form. Because, for example, here you see the sky. If I go back, you can see that in this src URL there is minus sky in the fragment, in the XR fragment. So it's not showing you this sky because we already have a sky in this scene. But it's really cool and really great, I think, to be able to see more information about this embedded object and also be able to visit the scene in which this object lives, because this could just be a subset of a certain remote scene, and it would be great to also see that, scene in its full context. So this is a really cool use case for descriptive metadata, and but also for portals. Like here is an src, but also an href, which means we can navigate to it if we walk into this portal in VR. Here you can see the same metadata, a transcript, and all these other descriptions, how this looks in the scene. So I have this other .glb loaded into Blender, and at the scene tab, this custom property tab, which is the metadata of a scene, you can see the ARIA description, the SPDX, the DC attributes, some OG attributes, and this is basically what's being rendered. You can also do it individually on objects. For example, this triangle. If I go here to custom properties, then you can see an ARIA description here as well. And this is very useful for the transcripts. All right, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I think this is really exciting. I hope at some point a textual XR fragment browser will be created as well, because this is totally doable. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.